Hello, everyone. So our team is going to share with you our research on the development and validation of a measurement tool titled the Youth Career Development Competence, YCDC, among Hong Kong youth aged 13 to 18. So our team consists of myself, Stephen Lai, Professor Chau-kiu, Jockey, Cheung, and Dr. Wong. So in the next slide, we are going to share with you about the background of our study. As we all know it well, economic globalization and advanced technology have led to an unpredictable job environment characterized by keen competition and job transformation. So the multiple pathway in this kind of labor market very often complicate the entire process of school to work transition, making it very challenging for young people to make career decisions. Under these challenges, today's youth very often, they will encounter different kinds of difficulties, including unsatisfactory employment, lack of social mobility, and a series of social, emotional, and behavioral problems. So for this reason, it is really important to help young people to develop career development competence, which refers to the ability of young people to navigate from education to productive and meaningful employment. So this kind of ability is really important for them to keep up with increasingly dynamic and changing work environment. Nevertheless, research on the development and validation of YCDC instrument, especially for young people aged 13 to 18, is really scarce. So our aim is to develop a holistic measurement instrument that can enable young people to identify their career development competence and to plan and manage career progression in an informed and confident manner. So in the next slide, we share with you our observation from literature review. From literature review, we have identified three major research gaps. The first is about the overlooking of engagement aspects of YCDC measurement. So very often, previous research focused on self-understanding, career pathway exploration, and career planning and management. But engagement is really important because it concerns about young people' ability to connect with supportive others and social resources. The other research gap concerns about concurrent validity examination. This is lacking in previous studies. So with concurrent validity relates to whether or not the validation process examine the result of the measurement tool with the result of similar measurement. The first research gap we identify is about the lack of examination about subgroup consistency of the YCDC scale, which relates to whether or not the validation process has examined whether or not the factor structure of the measurement is stable or consistent across different kind of subgroups like gender or years of residence. So in the next slide, we share with you about the major components in our YCDC measure. It includes four major dimensions. The first dimension is engagement, which refers to the ability of young people to get involved in new experiences and to extend their connection with others and the community and maintain interest in career and life planning activities. The second dimension is about self-understanding, which refers to the ability of young people to comprehend their hopes and dreams, to engage in self-reflection and self-enhancement activities, and to connect this kind of self-knowledge with pathway alternatives. The third one is career and pathway exploration, which refers to the ability to explore multiple pathways and to compare and prioritize them, as well as to set career and life goals. The fourth one is about career planning and management, which refers to the ability to seek support and opportunities and to manage career transition and development. So in the next slide, we further share with you about the research context of our study. So in the Hong Kong Chinese context, we have our unique socio-cultural characteristics. And under the pandemic, the youth unemployment rate is really high. Currently stands at about 20% among young people aged 15 to 24. And regarding the school support related to YCDC, it is mainly about information sharing for further study opportunities. The reason for that is due to parental expectation. For parents in Hong Kong, further education is the most promising choice for their children. So under this kind of circumstances, young people in Hong Kong very often, they have a firm sense of direction for further study, but few have a sense of direction for future careers. So, and their understanding of the labor market is very often limited and distorted. And also, under the Hong Kong Chinese context, we also have a collectivistic culture and strong family orientation. So very often, social expectations are given priority over individual preference. And this also affects young people's educational and occupational aspiration and their decision making. So it's really important to help young people to develop YCDC so that they can think about the world of work and to have greater ability to aspire. So from our literature review and also from our identification of the knowledge gap, we also predict that there will be positive relationship between YCDC and some career-related and psychosocial outcomes. So we will specifically look into 5 outcomes, including career adaptability, which refers to individual resources for successful management of career transition. Career outcome expectancy refers to individuals' expectations and beliefs about the probability of experience result of chosen career, like earnings and self-satisfaction. Social integration refers to the sense of belonging to a group or community. Civic engagement refers to participation in activities for common good. Social contribution refers to engaging in this for benefit of society. Now I'd like to pass the time to Dr. Wong to share about our research aim.
Thanks to Professor I. The aims of the present study is to provide a holistic instrument to measure YCDC among young people in Hong Kong. Specifically, the first is to measure 4 potential components, namely engagement, self-understanding, career and pathway exploration, career planning and management. The second is to conduct the concurrent validity of YCDC. We will test the correlations between YCDC and career-related as well as psychosocial outcomes. The third is to conduct subgroup consistency of YCDC according to gender and years of residence in Hong Kong. Here is the research method. A total of 503 participants aged 13 to 18 were recruited to participate in this study. The development and validation of the YCDC scale included 2 parts. The first is to develop. According to the previous studies, we had a total of 17 items were divided to measure 4 potential components, namely engagement, self-understanding, career and pathway exploration, career planning and management. The second part includes the measures of career-related and psychosocial outcomes to check the concurrent validity of YCDC scales. Overall, the analytic plan included 5 steps. The total sample was divided into 2 subsamples. The first subsample was used to conduct the exploratory factor analysis. The second subsample was used to conduct the confirmatory factor analysis, including 4 model fit indices, CFI, TLI, RMSEA, and SRMR. The second step is to conduct the subgroup consistency validation according to 2 respect pairs of subgroups, namely gender and years of residence in Hong Kong. The fourth is to test the reliability of YCDC score and its subscales to check the internal consistency. Cronbach's alpha coefficients will be used with 0.7 as the cutoff for acceptable reliability. The last step is to conduct the concurrent validity. Pearson's correlation coefficients will be used to test the correlations between YCDC scale and the measures of career-related and psychosocial outcomes. Here is the results of exploratory factor analysis. The KMO coefficient was 0.9 and The chi-square from the Butler test was over 3,800 for the YCDC scale. The factor loadings of the terms included in engagement, self-understanding, career and pathway exploration, career planning, and management were all about or greater than 0.5. And the percentage of total variance were over 21%, 20%, 19%, and 18% for engagement, self-understanding, career and pathway exploration, career and planning and management, respectively. Here is the results for the confirmatory factor analysis. The results shows that all the model fit indices were acceptable, and the factor loadings ranged from 0.8 to 0.89 for engagement, and ranged from 0.87 to 0.91 for the self-understanding, ranged from 0.82 to 0.9 for the career and pathway exploration, and ranged from 0.83 to 0.86 for career planning and management. The next part will be introduced by Professor Cheung. Professor Cheung, please.
Okay, so I would like to continue to describe the validation procedure. So now we are having a look at the reliability result. So for the 4 dimensions of the total scale, so all of them appear to demonstrate high level of internal consistency reliability. So they are higher than 0.9 level. This is already over our expectations. So the result overall demonstrates very good reliability for the scale of our measurement. Okay. So the next page will show the result from the confirmatory factor analysis in order to validate the factor structure of the scale. So we have 5 columns. The first column refers to the result for the overall confirmation of the scale. And then we have 2 pairs and 4 subgroups, including the gender and the residency. So we have the male and the female, and also shorter and longer residency in Hong Kong. So among the statistics, the most important one would be the CFI, representing the comparative goodness of fit index. So all of them appear to uphold number 1. So we know that number 1 means the perfect fit. So for the other indicator, the lower the value, the better. So they are very small. So as a result, the table try to replicate that the factorial validation can hold for every subgroup. Okay, so the next one. So the next page will demonstrate the concurrent validity of the scales. So we have 5 variables for the scale, including a total scale and its 4 dimensions, including the engagement, including self-understanding and exploration and planning and management. And we have 5 criterion for concurrent validation. So including career adaptability, career outcome expectancy, civic engagement, social contribution, and social integration. So importantly, all the correlation demonstrates a high or at least a moderate level of associations. So this is the demonstration of the concurrent validity of the scale. Okay, the next. So overall, we have already achieved our goal of validations. So importantly, we have tried to demonstrate that there is a rigorous instrument for measuring youth career development competency in Hong Kong context. We try to respond to the Hong Kong context and demonstrate that we can use the scale for practice to enhance their youth career development. And importantly, in our scale, we introduce the very important and negative pillar, that is engagement. So as one of the 4 important pillars in our scale. So secondly, we demonstrate the reliability and validity of the scale, including the subscale and the overall scale. And we have already demonstrated the concurrent validity and reliability and factorial validity as well. So we also demonstrate that the results appear to be consistent with the literature. So overall, we also demonstrate that our factorial validation can hold for different subgroups. So this is the demonstration of the generalizability and replication of our scale that can be useful for different subgroups, so that the scale can have general use for the school to work transition in a Chinese context. Okay. So of course, we admittedly, we have some limitations. We have some imitation first. So accordingly, we have demonstrated our theoretical contribution in introducing the engagement subscale, and overall, we try to replicate the validity of the scale that can be useful for measuring the young people career development competency in the Hong Kong context. And particularly, we have validated the scale that can be useful for the practice and for the enhancement of the young people's career development competency, and that can be useful for their future education and employment. And admittedly, we have the limitation that our focus is only on the young people in the status of school to work transition in Hong Kong. And then we do not have a very clear cutting point for subgrouping our according to the residency. So another limitation is that our sample is just a processional data. So it at most can demonstrate the concurrent validity, but it cannot demonstrate the predictive validity. That is, we propose to have more data to conduct longitudinal analysis in future research. So finally, and most importantly, we try to acknowledge that the research get the support from the Hong Kong Jockey Club Charity Trust, and importantly, the presentation is some part of the paper under review in an international journal. So overall, we have presented our major findings today. Thanks for your attention.